was a Japanese diplomat giving out visas to go to Japan. And my sister and I decided to go to Kovna and try to get one, because we felt if we get to Japan, we might be able to get affidavits sent to Japan and get an American visa. So we went to one of the offices, got a permit to go to Kovna, and we took the train. And we got there to the Japanese consulate, and there were lines around the block, other people who were there. We waited there all day long, and we couldn't get in. But we had to take the train back because we couldn't stay overnight. We went back, and then a couple of days later, we tried again, the same thing, and that time we took an earlier train to get there, and it was the same thing again. We couldn't get in. A few days later, we tried again. And each time we had to get a different permit. We couldn't go on the same permit. The permits were also expensive, and we didn't have too much money. The last time we went, the third time that we went, was getting very close to a crucial date, because our family from New York wired us that they could get tickets for us on the Trans-Siberian Railroad for a certain date if we could get the visa. So, and it was getting very close to that date, and if we didn't get the visa, we couldn't get on that. So my sister and I got up even earlier, and we got there, and we stood on line, and each time people used to go, the building that the embassy, it was just a house actually. It was sort of a ground floor, and then his office was upstairs. So people used to line up and then come, and then you lined up on the stairs until you were able to get into his office. And each time a person went into the office, the door would open and there would be a push. People would try to get in. And we were standing in line there, and it was like about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we were getting pretty close. We were at the bottom of the steps. But the office was closing at 5 or 5:30, and we saw that it was getting too close, that we will probably not be able to get in. So at one point where the door opened, I grabbed my sister's hand, and we just ran up the stairs, and we tried to get in, and of course we tried to cross the line. So they pushed us down, and we were right back on the bottom of the steps. And then a few more times people went in and out, and we were coming up maybe 2 or 3 steps, but it's still, we felt we were not going to make it that day. Finally, we took the courage again, and we ran up those stairs, and I just put my foot right in the door, as they say, and I was holding on to my sister, and we got in to the room. And we were the last people who got the visa that day. We pushed ourselves, my sister and I pushed ourselves into the room. We saw Mr. Sugihara. He asked us our name. He asked us where our parents were. We told him. My father was not living. My mother has no papers. And he looked very sympathetic to us, and he just gave us the visa right there on the spot.
And how did you react?
We got very hysterical. My sister and I got hysterical, started to cry, and started to say, thank you, in Polish. And he just raised his hand like saying, it's okay, and that's it. And we went out of the room. And we got out of the room hysterical, crying, and crying, that's all. We were just hugging each other and crying. And that was it. When we were ready to leave, Villeneuve for Japan to get the Trans-Siberian Railroad. It was it was sort of like a finality. It was almost like saying goodbye, we'll never see each other again. And because mother at that time had no way of getting out whatsoever. She had no papers outside. She had a passport, but she had no visa to go to Japan. She had no visa to go to the United States. And we sort of felt hopeless that we'll never see her again. And that was devastating. I'll never forget that scene. Very devastating. My mother, leaving my mother on the train and that station. My sister and I were, first of all, scared. It was a very frightening experience, the whole thing, once we left her. Because the Russians were not very friendly towards the refugees.